Welcome back to Wall again. So today we have a very special guest. It's my mate Eric. And of course, Eric has played drums with me for years in bands. And I was just working it out earlier, Eric. We'll be working together and in bands together. We know each other the last 18 years now in the new year. Isn't that
Jesus, Robert,
amazing?
make me feel old now, yeah, man.
I know. There's a person that was born when we first met, and that person is actually an adult now. They're old enough to vote, they're old enough to drink, they're old enough
Yeah,
to drive. So
that's crazy, man. That is crazy.
yeah, mad stuff. But yeah, so today we're going to be reviewing Pink Floyd Endless River. So we were having a chat, and what we said was we'll go through the albums in reverse chronological order from the most recent studio album that was released and go right back to the very first album that was released by Pink Floyd. And
Yeah,
we're going to do one a week, and we call this series Floyd Fridays. So something, I don't know if that's already been taken. But we'll see. We'll find out. So, how are you keeping, Eric?
I'm good, Rob. Thanks for having me on again. Love the show. Excited to talk Pink Floyd with you. I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd. So
Yeah, you certainly are. You're the biggest Pink Floyd fan I know, anyway. So, there's no better person I'd rather have on to talk about these great albums. So, we'll kick off with Endless River. So, look, it's the last studio album released by the band, and yeah, of course, you have a lovely vinyl copy there, Eric.
nice final copy here. Looking at some of the nice artwork. Guys don't have
Brilliant.
it. Some nice pictures in there of the guys jamming and recording. Yeah,
Class.
yeah,
That's what we were saying. It's such a different experience on vinyl visually. Like you
yeah.
really get that impact, and you can see that there on that. All the artwork there looks amazing, and the picture of the lads in the studio. It's nice
Yeah,
wall frame.
it is. And it's it's a nice like even the album art, like it's actually looks like a piece of art. It's
Oh,
very elusive or something. It's pretty cool, man. It's like a
yeah,
dream or something. It's just pretty cool.
it is. Yeah, and you when you're listening to the album and you've got the artwork, it's the
Yeah,
visual. It's like a visual engagement as well as the sound, so it's a whole
yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Um,
Totally is, man.
Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. As I was saying to you earlier, Endless River is the only Pink Floyd album I don't have. I have all the rest of them on CD.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll probably pick it up at one stage, when it if I see it and it's not too expensive, I'll probably pick it up.
yeah, man. Yeah, it's a fantastic album. It was recorded in I think it was 24. Well, I think it was recorded well before 2014, but it was released officially in 2014. So if you're a fan of Division Bell, it carries on that kind of sound. It's an album that they said it's a tribute to Richard Wright, who's the late keyboard player for Pink Floyd. And in my opinion, like if you're really into ambient music, it's a lovely album to listen to. It's mostly instrumental. So if you're into like just chill music, this is definitely the album for you. There's one song on there with lyrics in it, which I believe Gilmore's wife helped write some of the lyrics. It's not the best Pink Floyd song in the world, to be honest, but I do like the rest of the album. Besides that song, I generally skip that song. I do,
Oh
but
right, okay, very
yeah,
good.
it's like if you're into that ambient sound, it's really cool. Division Bell kind of had that real ambient sound, and I believe it's a lot of the tracks that didn't make it onto Division Bell. But after Richard Wright had passed away, obviously they thought they'd release it as a tribute to him, and I think it's fantastic. I just even with Gilmore's latest album there that he released only a few weeks ago, there's still some Richard Wright recordings going around, So I don't think it's the last we'll ever hear of him, but it's if you're a Pink Floyd fan, I think it's a must listen to anyways.
Absolutely, yeah. So like this was actually a very successful album. I was reading about it today. So like it was their 15th studio album, as you say, and it was the first album in 20 years. So the Division Bell was released in 1994, and
Mm-hmm.
then obviously Richard Wright passed away. I think it was 2008,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had all this material from those sessions, as you said, and they decided to form an album. So it was the remaining three members then of Pink Floyd at that stage. So it was David
Yeah,
Gilmour taking the lead on all the on the Division Bell, which we'll
yeah,
cover in another video next week.
yeah, yeah,
But he's taken the lead in terms of the songwriting, the instrumentation and arrangement, and
Yeah,
lyrics, but there's not much lyrics in this. And then obviously Rick Wright on keyboards, and yeah, so that follows through.
Nick
But it
Mason
was
on drums.
and
Yeah,
Nick Mason on drums, yeah, of
yeah.
course. And
Roger Waters, obviously,
thinking,
he's absent. He's absent from Pink Floyd at this point. This is like late on in their career. So if you're a Roger Waters fan, you may not like this album, but then again, you might like it. But yeah, there's no Roger Waters appearances on this. Still, I still love this album. I think it's fantastic, atmospheric, chill out album. I always say like this is one of my albums that I go to when I go on holidays and I want to just chill by the pool or chill by the beach or whatever. That album goes on for me as well as Division Bell. It's just the two of them work really well together. And the name of
yeah,
the album actually, the name of the album is called The Endless River, but
yeah,
it's the last phrase they sing on Division Bell. So the very last song that they sing.
High Hopes, is it?
Um yeah, High Hopes, exactly.
Great song.
It's the last line of lyrics that they sing. It's called the Endless River. That's the name of the album. So fun
Brilliant.
fact for
That it
you there.
really ties it all together, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, definitely does, yeah.
Class. I love that. So the album has gone on to sell over 2.5 million units equivalent. So I suppose the important thing about that is we're in the age of streaming, and we were in the age of streaming more probably downloads in 2014.
Yeah,
And I think vinyl had started coming back. So it wasn't like, albums were released and they just sold bucket loads. That wasn't the case anymore. Some people were buying them on vinyl, and some people were actually downloading them illegally or streaming them or just listening to them on YouTube. So I think like it's 2.5 million sales, but like I think it probably deserves more than that if it was in the
yeah.
90s, if it was released in that era.
David Gilmour has actually come out and said like this album, it's for the serious Pink Floyd fans.
Yeah,
If you're into like the jams that they done, like for example on like the famous song Echoes, which those kind of long, like classic rock jams that they do.
yeah.
So he's that when the album came out, he's like, this is for the serious Pink Floyd fans. So it's a good one if you're starting off, on your Pink Floyd journey. It's a good album to pick up to kind of get a vibe what the band are all about, particularly in that kind of classic bluesy rock. It's fantastic in terms of a good listen.
Yeah.
What
So
what were
like
your favorite songs on the album, Rob?
I'm just looking through now, so I've made some notes. So like I suppose it's worth just letting all the viewers know. So this album was released as a double album, and back in the traditional vinyl double album sense. So each side of a vinyl can hold about 20 minutes of music. So one vinyl disc, side A, side B, you'll get 40 minutes of music. If it goes over the 40 minutes, then you have to start thinking about a double album. And of course, there's many famous double albums. There's The Wall by Pink Floyd, there's Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin, The River by
Zeppelin.
Bruce Springsteen. So, the White Album by the Beatles. So these were all very famous double albums from years gone by when vinyl was the medium. But for this one, they've decided to release this on a double vinyl. So you've got in total 18 tracks, but it's split up into sides. So you've got
Yeah,
like side one, track one, two, three. Then you've got side two, track one, two, three, four, etc. So for me, the standout tracks for me on this one, um, so on side three, song number four, is it Alon's
yeah,
Y1, and then it goes into Autumn 68 and Alon's Y2. I don't know if I'm saying
yeah,
that correctly, but there's guitar solos in both of them Alon songs, and they just blew me away. Like
yeah,
this brought me back to the Division Bell and some parts of the Wall and Dark Side. I was just blown away by the guitar work
yeah,
on those ones.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's side
Good
three,
choices. Yeah,
disc four, or sorry, disc three, uh, tracks number four, five, and six.
yeah. I love now. To be honest, I love things left unsaid. It's that kind of ambient sound.
Yeah,
At the very start, you hear actually Richard Wright. He's actually quoted in it. Do you remember the famous live in Pompeii?
of
There's an
course.
interview on that, so that's him actually talking in that interview. So straight
Excellent.
off the bat, like it's you see it's a tribute to Richard Wright, but it's what we do. I love that song. It's literally it's what we do. It's what Pink Floyd are. It's all about the bluesy rock stuff.
Yes.
Fantastic song.
Yeah.
Song on there called Skins. which is it's pretty much a drum solo, you
I
know.
thought you might like that one.
Yeah, no, but it's really cool. Like it's a throwback. Like you get into the song, like he's on like the timbales and everything, and he's on like all the rototoms. Like you know, if you're into Dark Side of the Moon, the rototoms on the song Time, you know
Yeah,
it's a
yeah. Oh,
tribute to what the Pink Floyd sound is, and I don't think they lost that sound. And there, there's a song in there called Talking Hawking, and
yes.
that's Stephen Hawkins who voices on there, and he was
Yeah,
also famously on one of the songs on the Vision Bell, which we'll talk about next week.
yeah,
So yeah, absolute. I love this album. If you were to ask me again, I give this a good high rating of 8 out of 10. In my book, it's up there. It's 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 not as good as Dark Side of the Moon or Wish You Were Here, but it's not as
yeah.
bad as like the Final Cut. So it's right there in the middle. It's a nice album to listen to.
Yeah, like obviously you're a big Pink Floyd fan, so you're very familiar with the Pink Floyd catalog all the time. And when you're listening to
Yeah,
this album, you've got a good like reference point of where to put that album in your ranking. For
yeah,
me, I know the big Pink Floyd albums, like Animals, Wish You Were Here, The Wall, Dark Side of the Moon, love all that good stuff. And then
yeah.
like Division Bell, we were going to do a review on that, but I've been listening to Division Bell the last 2 weeks, so I have a good idea of those albums. And then the other albums, I might know a couple of tracks from them, but I wouldn't. I'm looking forward to deep diving into these albums to see where they are.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I've been kind of what I did was I basically ranked all the songs and took an average, and that was
yeah,
my how I got a ranking for this album. So I
yeah.
came in with 6 out of 10 uh,
Okay,
for
yeah,
this
fair
one.
enough.
For me,
Yeah,
like I haven't listened to this album since it came out in 2014, 10 years ago.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
when it came out, I had it, whatever, YouTube or whatever, Spotify. I don't know if I even had a Spotify account in
yeah.
2014.
I remember coming out on Spotify as well. It was a big deal. I was really into Pink Floyd then, still
Yeah,
am now, and I was waiting for the release of the day, and I was listening into it. But I got it like for Christmas, and that's the Christmas gift there. I wanted to get it as part of my collection, you know.
class, class. So like yeah, like I hadn't listened to it in 10 years, and like to get into the mood for Pink Floyd now, listening to this, it's really put a fire under me to listen to the back catalog.
Yeah,
Some of the songs, like one of the songs there, it starts, what's it called? Yeah, so it's side two, track number four. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it reminds me of the start of Us
and
and
it's
Them.
in a
Yeah, I think
Anacina
that's
maybe.
it. Yeah. So that reminds me of the start of Us and Them. And then there was another song that reminded me of Echoes. So I think it's really like sort of teasing you off the Pink Floyd
Yeah,
past material. And that was
yeah.
really getting me fired up. And I'm really looking forward to doing a deep dive on all these. But I don't know, like what I probably wouldn't if I wanted to listen to some Pink Floyd, I don't know if I'd actually reach for this one. But it's still
Hmm.
a solid album. I'm not saying it's a
Yeah,
bad album. Like it's still getting a six
it
out of 10.
it's not the first album you pick up for your Pink Floyd education. I
Mm,
think like if you're to listen to that first off, you'd be kind of like, what is it? Is it like there's no, as people listen to this, it's like there's no lyrics in this, or it's just music. I think after going through a full Pink Floyd, journey and kind of listening to the big albums like The Dark Side of the Moon and The Wall and all the other great albums that they have, I think you'll come around, you'll have an appreciation for it, particularly if you're into chill out music. And like I said, like it's my go-to
yeah.
album when I'm on a holiday. I like to kind of chill out by the pool, listen to this. It gets me in a relaxed mood, you know.
Yeah, yeah, like because it's an instrumental album, it definitely lends itself to that ambient style. Um, but yeah, like honestly, I think they probably could have and should have put more lyrics to some of these songs. I think some of them
Yeah.
could have done with some lyrics and words there. But look, that's what they decided to do. They had all this music and they decided to produce it in this way. I actually like the final track, Louder Than Words. I think that's a very good track.
Yeah. All
To
right.
be
Fair enough.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, look, I think it's a good album. It actually got to number one in 23 countries all over the world, which isn't surprising because Pink Floyd are huge. Like they're
Huge.
such
Yeah.
such a big band that it's
Huge
it's
band.
not a surprise. And then yeah, like the label, it was released through Parlophone and Columbia Records in the US, and it was produced by Bob Ezrin, who's done an awful lot of Pink Floyd back catalogue. So it's no
Yeah.
surprise to see him there. Obviously, Dave Gilmour had a massive input into the production, and then a guy called Andy Jackson, who I'm not really familiar with his work.
Mhm. Guy
And
Guy
then
Pratt played bass on the album as well, isn't that right?
very good, yeah.
Yeah,
So Guy Pratt, like he's kind of the go-to player when Roger Waters left the band, wasn't he?
that's right. Yeah, he famously recorded on the Pulse live album. He
Yeah,
filled in for Roger when all that stuff. We'll probably get into that as well when we're getting through the
I
history
think.
of Pink Floyd albums. But during the famous, they had a massive gig in Earl's Court, I think it was, called Pulse. This is way back in like 92, 94, I think it was. Um, an absolute amazing live gig to watch all of Pink Floyd's hits. But what a stage show they put on in terms of like a light show and everything. Um, they had a massive like on stage ensemble, backing singers, percussionist, two keyboard players, three or four guitar players. But their sound is just the best you'll hear, in my opinion, on that gig. Guy Pratt was famously playing on that, and he also recorded then the Division Bell album. And I
Yeah,
think they were touring the Division Bell album during that Pulse run, so it's kind of most of the material. Well, the first half of the gig is all Pulse, or is
brilliant,
all Division Bell. Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah, Pink Floyd, like in terms of their sound, they don't leave anything to chance. Like
yeah.
everything is super engineered, and comes out really well. Like we saw that when we saw Roger Waters on tour with the was it Us and Them?
Us and them tour.
That,
Yeah,
that
we
stories.
at the Wall, were you as well? The Wall they played.
I didn't get that. Didn't get to that one.
That was amazing gig. Yeah.
Yeah, but the
Sadly,
sound
I
is
haven't seen
pristine.
David Gilmour yet.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's going on tour at the moment. He's got a few dates around the UK and Europe, hasn't he? So
Yeah, yeah, that's
hopefully
right.
he does something next year and comes to
I had
Ireland.
to sell a kidney to get a ticket for one of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he's very popular, like still to this day, and he's just an absolute legend. So yeah, look, that was enjoyable, Eric. I suppose that's the first of the Floyd Fridays, as we call it.
Yeah,
So yeah, so listen, I think it's a good start anyway with Endless River, and we'll work our way back. So next week is going to be Division Bell from
correct.
1994.
Yeah, yeah.
And I suppose everyone watching out there, let us know what you think of Endless River. If you're a big Pink Floyd fan, do you think it fits in with their back catalogue, or maybe you think it's the Black Sheep? So let us know in the comments below. And of course, as I said, Floyd Fridays, we're going to be posting a video every Friday between now and Christmas, maybe a little bit beyond. And we're going to get right back to the very first Floyd album. And then when we've done all that, myself and Eric are going to go away and pick our list of our Floyd albums ranked from, least favorite to best favorite or most favorite. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of conversation on that one as well.
We'll stir a few arguments, well, I'm sure.
I'm sure, and I'm sure online people. I put a video there on Monday, and people are having a great time disagreeing with me already. But that's good. It's all good. Like everyone has an opinion on these things, and it's good to get people's opinion back, and get a bit of over and back going. So, yeah. So look, if you could hit like and subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. You'll get more videos. I have a video going up every day at the moment. So we'll see how long that lasts for on different genres of music from rock, to progressive rock, hard rock, metal, everything you name it, and I'm doing it there at the moment. And here's some other videos you might be interested in. I'll just leave links at the end here. So if you want to keep watching, you have a bit of spare time there, make a cup of tea and click on the next video there. So thanks again, Eric, for joining on,
Thanks for having me, Rob.
and
Cheers,
we
man.
shall catch up next week.
See you next week,
See you
man.
now.
Tune in for Floyd Friday.
Bye now.